Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, and welcome to Frogs on Friday. On today's show, we're talking about are young people being prepared for the workplace properly. We'll go through some of the hot jobs of the week, and I'm joined this week by Esha from our Auckland team to give us some more information about presenteeism. I think we just set her up for this one just because it's a hard word to say, really, more than anything. And we will finish off with our social media polls. So let's jump straight into Mahi Media. Okay, so this week we had Simon Bridges, who you will know, the Auckland Business Chamber CEO, talking about how employers and actually sometimes the employees themselves are worried that young people are not being properly prepared to enter the workplace. Now, this might be things like lacking in basic skills to get by, things like including poor literacy, numeracy, and communication skills. So I guess how this plays out in the workplace might be things like an over-reliance on the good old spell check or calculators, and now, of course, ChatGTP for everyday tasks, as well as things like being able to write an appropriate business email. And I guess in more general terms, sometimes it's those soft skills and the attitude that people are taking to work, and knowing how to play nicely in a work environment. So I definitely say that the radio interview is well worth a listen. It's only 6 minutes. Actually, it's shorter than that because the last few minutes are really about trying to bait Simon Bridges into commenting on politics, so even shorter. I'd really love to hear your view on the topic. Do you think it has merit? Does it happen with every generation? And is this just picking on millennials? And what was your experience in first joining the workforce? So feel free to chat online or put it in the comments. I'd love to see what your experience has been. All right, so let's take a look at some of the hot jobs this week. Okay, so first up, we have a temp role. This one's based in Wellington, so good to see some new roles coming through from there. A customer operations specialist. Looks to be paying a decent rate, $27 to $29 per hour, and it's involved in the education sector. If you have strong admin and coordination experience, of course, coupled with some excellent communication and interpersonal skills, all those good soft skills we've been talking about, get in touch and with Chitra to find out more about this role. Okay, and our permanent role is an assistant accountant. This one is based in East Auckland, and competitive salary from memory, don't quote me on this, but I think it's around 70 to 80. I've given myself 80K, given myself a big range there just in case I've remembered it wrong. Now, this one is an all-round assistant accountant role, as they typically are, supporting the financial controller and working within a really interesting sector as well. So don't want to give too much away there, but if you do want to find out the nitty-gritty about this role, get in touch with Simi from our Auckland team. Okay, so now let's take a look at our roles in the UK and Australia. All right. So, as I said last week, always a great variety of roles coming out of the new UK office. And this week's no exception with a permanent bookkeeper role in the southeast of London. Again, if you want to find out more about this particular role, get in touch directly with Hannah from our London team. Or if you want some more general information about making the move to either the UK and Australia and being set up for work once you get there, get in touch with any of the team members at Frog or People to People. Okay, and I think we've got a video for the Australian role.
I am currently working with a top-tier global law firm who are recruiting for a legal executive assistant. This is an ideal opportunity for an experienced legal assistant who loves the law firm environment but is looking to transition out of a role within a legal team. An interest in recruitment would also be beneficial to your success in this role. This legal assistant would be supporting the director and practice head of the firm's legal recruitment team, and the salary on offer for the role is up to $100,000 package per year, dependent on experience. The reason for the vacancy is the current person in this role has moved internally into a talent acquisition role within the team, so it's definitely a role with great opportunity for progression. If this sounds like an ideal opportunity for you, please don't hesitate to apply now using the link below, or reach out to me for more information on 0497 477 320.
Okay, so it looks like the view out of Natalie's window on that day, I think, was maybe slightly better than the view out mine today. It's a bit dreary here in Auckland, and that's something that can maybe be a bit more of a reason for people to stay at home. But we're seeing that more and more, that people are showing up regardless of whether they're sick or not. So can you tell us a little bit more about this, Esha?
Definitely. Now, bear with me because I've learned this word this morning, so I might mess it up. But presenteeism refers to sort of the emerging trend where employees come to work even when they're unwell, not fully functional, or able to perform at their best. In other words, it's the act of being physically present at work but not fully engaged or productive during the day. And it can be due to a range of reasons, such as health issues or things happening in their personal life. It can happen when employees feel pressured to show up at work despite being sick or facing other challenges. Some of those challenges can be mental health issues, personal problems, and even fatigue. So for some employees, they feel that even when they are sick, they must come into work. And when they do take that time off for themselves, they feel a sense of guilt for not being at work. And it's something that I feel can be a bit difficult to overcome for employers, but I've put together a few strategies to help employers address and reduce it in the workplace. So the first one of those is fostering a supportive work environment that values open communication and prioritizes well-being for employees. The second is promoting a work-life balance by setting clear working hours and encouraging breaks and vacations. It's always good to go away for a little bit and, have a bit of time off for yourself. Number 3, I think, is one that's becoming more common after COVID, which is really great to see. And that's providing flexible work arrangements depending on the individual. That can be remote working or flexible hours to accommodate for pickups and drop-offs, for example. And number 4, I know it can be a bit of a difficult one, but leading by example. So managers taking time off when they're unwell to encourage employees to also prioritize their health and well-being. So those are my tips, and please let us know if you find them helpful and if that helps within your workplace.
Yeah, and what are you saying with, on the flip side of that, what are you saying in terms of candidates or employees, actually, whether or not they're going, oh, well, I better go in. I feel like I have to, or I'm letting the side down if I don't. Or if they've, I guess, not really a hangover, but a good consequence of COVID is it has taught a lot of people to be able to be really mindful of, okay, well, I might be feeling okay, but that doesn't mean I'm going to I'm not going to spread my germs throughout the rest of the office. So maybe it's a good idea to stay home. What are you seeing with the employees that you're working with?
So I'd say it's a range. So you've got a mixture. There are some people that when they have the ability to work from home, they find a little something coming on, a little itchy throat, and they're like, you know what, it's best I just work from home. On the flip side, I find that some of the roles that are more, in their office and don't have those sort of flexible working arrangements, it's those roles where some of the employees we work with have a little bit of that hesitation of taking that time off because they don't have that option to work from home. So it's definitely a mix, but I have noticed that in comparison to a few years ago, it's definitely increased where people are now, putting that priority on their health and trying not to spread those germs. So it's definitely coming together, but I think we've got a little bit still to go.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure those tips that you've given will help along the way. Thanks, Esha. That's some really great insight there. Okay, let's have a look at the results from the poll from last week. Okay, so we were talking about AI and whether or not that's a scary thing or something of benefit. And we asked if you found it to be better, worse, or no different. Now with that we're seeing it more and more in the office. Bit of a I'm quite surprised by this result actually. So 43 or 44% said actually I haven't really noticed a difference at all. But this one's the surprise. So 39% said, oh, no, it's worse. So I don't know if that's a bias on the people on Twitter, but scared of the technology coming in. Maybe not if they're on Twitter. I don't know. But interesting to see for the people who did think that it's gotten worse, why that is as well. So again, feel free to put your comments through as well. Let's take a look at today's poll. Okay, so back on our presenteeism. So when ill, do you feel comfortable calling in sick? So yes, work encourages it, or no, actually I feel that pressure to work regardless. So again, it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. Okay, well, that is it for today's show. We'll be back again next Friday at 12:30. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.